Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video, as I always say. Today we are going to be ranking my foundation collection. I did recently post ranking my skin tints slash low coverage foundations. So I will link, yeah, I was like, am I saying that right? Yes, so I will leave that linked below if you guys are interested, as well as my ranking my makeup playlist. I have ranked every category of my every category of my makeup collection the last couple of years, so I'll leave that playlist link down below. And I have decided that Fridays on my YouTube channel are officially going to be just ranking Fridays. I know that doesn't have like a ring to it or whatever, but every single Friday on my channel we're going to be ranking something, whether it be eyeshadow palettes for the month, my self tanners, every self tanner that I've tried. We're going to be ranking every Friday from now. My goal is at least from now until the end of the year. I love ranking things, so maybe this will be something that I carry on into 2022. I do still have some categories of my makeup collection yet to rank, so I do plan to do those. But if you guys have any fun ideas on like different things throughout my life or my makeup or whatever it might be that you would like to see me rank, let me know. I do have a couple of fun ideas in mind and I'm really excited for them. But yes, every single Friday you can expect to see some sort of ranking here on my channel. So if that's something that interests you, or you just like to chit chat about makeup, or you like project panning content, I would love if you would consider subscribing before moving on. Other than that, let's just get into ranking my foundations. First things first, you guys, I filmed one other video today, my chopping block update. I think that goes up after this, but I'm trying out the I Will Olive Love You, the Olive You Forever palette from Violet Voss, and it is a freaking muddy mess, like literally a disaster on my eyeballs, and I'm super self-conscious about it. Tried to fix it a million times, spent probably 50 minutes just on my eyeshadow alone. It's unfixable, and I've got filming to do, so this is what we're, ignore the eyeballs today. It's fine. It is fine. Okay. Ranking my foundations. Like I said, skin tints and lighter coverage foundations, that video will be linked down below. I will not be talking about any of those in today's video. I have 12 foundations to rank for you guys today. I thought I would have had more. I think I have more. I actually think I have more skin tints and light coverage foundations at this moment in time, which is totally fine with me because that is my preference. Before we jump into the ranking, I will let you guys know I am 30 years old. I do have normal to dry, dry to normal, normal to dry. I feel like I have pretty dry skin, if I'm being honest, but then I'm like, is it really more normal? I honestly don't know. I just know that I've never seen an oil on my face, and I typically prefer a medium coverage, light to medium coverage. I would say more light now, but light to medium coverage, natural finish with maybe just like a hint of a healthy glow, nothing too dewy, nothing too luminous. But I don't typically love like super matte foundations. So those are kind of my preferences. As we rank these foundations, you'll kind of see why some may be ranking lower than others. But let's get into it, starting with my least favorite foundation in my collection. But I honestly still like enjoy this foundation. For the most part, I really do like my foundation collection. I've been trying to be a lot better about actually just getting rid of things that I don't really like. If it's not like a almost love, I just don't really want it in my collection unless I really feel like I can pan it. That being said, I just recently decluttered the Shiseido Synchro Skin Foundation. I purchased that at the beginning of this year and I just was not loving it. So I ended up gifting that to a friend who wanted to try it because it just was not working for me. That being said, let's actually get into this foundation ranking. So coming in dead last at number 12 is the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. Okay, I had to clear out some space on my SD card. Anyway, I know a lot of people really love this foundation, and I will say I do actually really enjoy this foundation. I was not expecting to like this at all. What I love about this is it is a very thin, liquidy, almost serum-like texture. So it is not as heavy or as cakey as a lot of other, like when I think of mattifying foundations, I just think of like thick, you can feel it on your face sort of foundations. That is not the case with this, which is why this is still remaining in my makeup collection. When I do want a full coverage look, this is something that I oftentimes will reach for, and I do think this is a really good option if you want a full coverage foundation in your collection that is just a little bit thinner and doesn't feel as makeup-y or as heavy on the face. I think this is a really good option. This is not my usual preference when it comes to foundation, so I don't reach for it all that often, which is why I had to rank this one last. Next is a foundation that I also really like. I will say, as I've tried to finish this foundation up and used it a lot, I've kind of just grown bored and tired of this foundation, and I don't think that you can get this foundation anymore. I think it was discontinued, but I did really like this at one point in time. It is the Too Faced Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation. I'm not gonna talk about this one too much just because I think it is discontinued. I'm pretty sure this dud, I was gonna say does or did. This has a heavy fragrance to it, so that isn't my absolute favorite, and it is just a little bit thicker, but this one did have a more hydrating finish for being like a mattifying foundation. It definitely was more full coverage, so not my preference, and this is something that I usually liked to mix with a more luminous foundation just to kind of make it a little bit less heavy, but I did really enjoy this at one point in time. I am trying to finish this up this year. I really hope I can do that. Like, I really hope I can. But this one is coming in at number 11. Okay, everything from 10 on up, I honestly like really like in my collection, and it was really hard for me to rank from here on up. But coming in at number 10, I have the Givenchy Prism Libre Skin Caring Glow Foundation. This actually has more coverage to it than I was expecting. I was expecting this to be a pretty light coverage foundation, but I would say this is more medium coverage. I did buy mine in a self-tan shade, and it's still like a little bit too dark. Whoopsies on my end. I don't know how to skin match ever. Shade match. Anyway, this has a very heavy fragrance to it, as I've heard many Givenchy products do. So that is why I'm ranking it at number 10, just because it's something that I don't necessarily feel comfortable using on a like everyday, like days in a row, frequent basis, because I don't know whether or not it would irritate my skin or cause breakouts. It gives a really beautiful, almost like satin matte sort of finish to the skin. For being a skin caring glow foundation, I felt like this was actually more like satin matte, and its finish very skin-like, but I was expecting it to be a little bit glowier, so I actually was really happy with this one. It just is super heavily fragranced and not something I'm comfortable using every single day, every day in a row, so that is why I'm ranking this a little bit lower. And then coming in at number 9, this used to be ride or die. This is something I probably still will repurchase because it is fairly inexpensive, but looking at everything else, this honestly would have to be like where I would rank it in terms of like which one I would want to reach for over others, and it is the L'Oreal Pro Glow Foundation. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this foundation. Like I said, I've gone through 4, 5, maybe 6 tubes of this, and I think it's really beautiful. I think it's a really good option from the drugstore. I love that it offers a beautiful glow to the skin. It's really like light, not heavy on the skin, but offers a good like light to medium coverage. I don't ever really like to build things up too much, so I don't necessarily know if you could build this up to a full coverage by any means, but I do feel like this has a really good wear time as well for being like a glowier foundation. And I also really enjoy the Pro Matte Foundation, and mixing these two together, the L'Oreal Pro Glow and the Pro Matte, I think makes such a beautiful combination. That's where I'm like, I could definitely see myself purchasing this and the Pro Matte in the future, but I just love some of my other foundations just a little bit more than I'm loving this one right now. Coming in at number 8, this is something that I didn't really like, but then I started to use it as like a mixing foundation. Like, I was literally mixing this with every other foundation, and I realized I really do enjoy this one. This one is from Rare Beauty. It is the foundation, I don't know what this is called, I forget. I have mine in the shade 150C. I realize I haven't been saying my shade with all of these, which granted, I don't feel like I'm going to be a good reference point just because I have such a mixed bag of shades, because I try to buy for like my self-tan shade and my pale, like I don't feel like I'll be a good reference, but I will try and remember to put my shade in the description box in case you guys are interested. This Rare Beauty one is so thin that it does not feel like anything on your skin. I think it gives the most beautiful natural skin-like finish, which is exactly what I'm looking for. My shade is just way too light for me. Even at my fairest, this is way too light. So I've been mixing this, like I said, with just about every other foundation to try and use this up, and I absolutely will repurchase this when I finish this one in a shade that hopefully will match me a little bit better, because even on this on its own, I could see this just being the most beautiful foundation, and I think I didn't give this one a fair chance in the beginning just because it wasn't the correct shade, but I have been reaching for this so often this year, and I'm really excited to finish this and buy this in my correct shade, and I could see myself even ranking this higher, like using this on its own in my correct shade, if that makes any sense. But this one currently is coming in at my number 8. Coming in at number 7, I have this one from Oma Beauty. This is the Stay Woke foundation. I have mine in the shade White Pearl T2N, which again is way too fair for me. This is way too pale, so I do end up mixing this one often with my darker foundations, but this is another one that's super thin and liquidy in consistency and offers way more of a like natural finish to the skin than I was expecting. For some reason, when this first launched, I thought I was hearing that this was like thicker and way more full coverage. I actually find that this is really flexible in its coverage. You can really shear this one out, or you can build this one up to be more full coverage. Coming in at number 6, I have this one from ColourPop. It is the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. This is a very beautiful foundation. My only gripe with this one is I wish that the longevity of how long it stayed on my skin lasted just like a little bit longer. This gives me a good like 8 hours, but at 8 hours I really start to notice this wearing away. I still think this is really beautiful. Again, this offers a really skin-like finish to the skin. Looks very natural, not too makeup-y. It's not too heavy. It's just like a good basic staple to have in your collection. And if I am struggling to decide what foundation to use, because sometimes I just really overthink my decisions in the morning, and I probably start my day off with decision fatigue over makeup every single morning. So maybe I should start to pick my makeup out. I should do that. I should start to like pick my makeup out the night before and see if I have like a better day. Because sometimes I just cannot decide what to wear in the morning, and I always reach for this foundation if I'm overthinking it. It's just such a staple, such a good foundation. Definitely a more like less expensive alternative to some of the others that I am ranking in this video. So I love this one from ColourPop. Coming in at number 5, this used to be a favorite foundation in my collection. I will still say this is probably a foundation I will always own in my collection because I do love this one. It is the Dior Forever, the original, just the Dior Forever, not any of the fancy like glow, whatever it might be. I have mine in the shade 2CR. I have gone through a full bottle of this in the past, and I just think this is beautiful. This definitely offers more of a medium to full coverage and a satin matte sort of finish that is so beautiful and truly will last all day. If I'm going on vacation, this always comes with me. Date nights, I wear this a lot as well just because I feel so beautiful in this, and I feel like it wears away really gracefully, but you get a super long lasting time on it anyway. So oftentimes like I'm taking my makeup off before it's really even started to wear away, and I just think it's so beautiful. Such a beautiful finish. I love this one so much. I could not recommend this product from Dior enough. Coming in at number 4, I have the NYX Born to Glow Naturally Radiant Foundation. This is so freaking beautiful. I purchased this because I had heard that it was a potential dupe for the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Foundation, and I do think the two are very similar, and I kind of use them interchangeably. I just like the Giorgio Armani just like a hair better personally, but this is beautiful if you do like more of a glow to your skin. It's not gonna be too dewy. It's not gonna look like super like you're oily, but it is going to offer just a beautiful radiance to the skin, a healthy sort of glow, and I think it's just absolutely stunning. It is just a little bit thicker in texture than I typically prefer. I do like something that's a little bit lighter, a little bit more liquidy. It's not super heavy on the skin, but it's definitely more noticeable than some of my other foundations, which is honestly the reason that I'm ranking this one at number 4 under my top 3, but I still love this. I still would recommend this. I think this is a really good option at the drugstore, and this would be my number 4. Coming in at number 3 is the Oma Beauty by Sharon C foundation, the Flawless IRL Skin Perfecting Foundation. I have this one in the shade Honey T3, which is a really good shade match for me when I am self-tan. This is so beautiful. This does not sink into my like forehead lines. Like it is, it's like magic. This retails for $14.98 as opposed to the $39 of the original Oma Beauty Say What, and I was so impressed with this. I feel like this offers a natural matte, sort of like satin matte sort of finish. It really just looks like your skin, but I would consider this probably leaning more towards the matte side, but nothing like uber matte, because I don't really like matte and I like this. It just truly like smooths the skin out and makes it look like filtered skin. I literally, every single foundation that I use, you guys, sinks into my forehead lines. It's something that I'm like actually super self-conscious of. This does not do that. From the moment I started testing this out, I have not been able to reach for another foundation. I've had to force myself to reach for other things because I love this so stinking much. I was considering not purchasing this, and I'm so glad that I moseyed myself on into a Walmart to pick this up because I have been so freaking impressed with this. If you've been considering this, I would say like it's a run, don't walk sort of situation. Like, you go get it, girlfriend. I'm so impressed. Coming in at number 2, I have the Dior Forever Skin Glow. And the only reason I'm ranking this one above the Dior Forever is because I do love to have that hint of a healthy glow to my skin. This is another one that's not going to be too dewy, too luminous, but it is just going to offer just a beautiful radiance to the skin. It is more medium to full coverage, which isn't always my preference, but again, vacations, special occasions, date nights, anything like that, I love reaching for this because I just feel so beautiful in this. I think it lasts such a good amount of time. Like, I would say a good 12 hours I get out of this, and I think it's so pretty. The Dior makeup in general, I think. The Dior Backstage, I just recently finished that off, and I'm glad that that's done. But overall, Dior makeup in general, I feel like I've been pretty impressed with, and this is no exception. So then I'm sure you guys maybe could guess my number 1 because I've already mentioned it, but it is the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Foundation. I just love this. I picked this up on a whim, and I always say I'm just so glad that I decided to pick this up. It is the Natural Glow Foundation, and I truly believe this just gives, it looks like your skin with like the sun beaming on you. It just gives the most beautiful natural glow to the skin. That is exactly what it is in my opinion. I have mine in the shade 4.5, which matches me really well in the summer. This one is a little less thick in texture than the NYX one in my opinion, which is why I prefer this one just a little bit more. I just think it's so stinking beautiful. It's honestly, you can apply this with your fingers, with a brush, with a sponge. No matter how you apply it, it just looks like your skin. Like, it doesn't even look like you're wearing foundation. I think it's so pretty, and one that I will continue to repurchase for all of my years on this planet. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video, ranking all of my current foundations in my collection. I would love to know, what are some of your favorite or least favorite foundations in your collection? Maybe, let's do favorite drugstore and favorite high-end foundation in the comments down below. Go now, sound off. What foundations do I need to try next? Probably none, because I shouldn't be buying anything. But anyway, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch. Let me know what else you want to see me rank on this channel. Thank you guys for supporting me as you always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.